In today's video, I want to talk about how much QNT to potentially become a quant millionaire. And quick disclaimer, these are all hypothetical scenarios and there is absolutely no guarantee that any of it is going to happen. And also on top of that, I am not a financial advisor. And before I get started with this video, I first want to mention how the current price of QNT is sitting at around $128 and the market cap for QNT is sitting at $1.9 billion. And the circulating supply of QNT varies from website to website. However, I am going to go with the coin perspective. And now, with all that being said, let's now take a look at some hypothetical millionaire scenarios. And if we take a look at this right here, if QNT were to reach the price of $500, it would have a market cap of $7.3 billion, and it would approximately be a 4x from here. And at that point, you would need to own 2,000 QNT in order to become a millionaire. And 2,000 QNT, by the way, as of right now, is worth around $256,000. So that is how much you would need to have invested in QNT right now in order to become a millionaire if one QNT were to reach the price of $500. And some people must be thinking, oh, what, $256,000? Oh, that's a lot. And I agree, $256,000 is a lot. However, QNT just hasn't been as oversold as many other cryptos out there. You know, a lot of cryptos out there are down over 80%, over 90% from their all-time high price, but QNT has been holding up pretty strong. In fact, QNT has had somewhat of a resurgence ever since it went to that $45, $50 range. You know, when QNT went that low in price, a lot of people started scooping up on the dip and the price of QNT went up. And if anything, I think this shows the conviction that people have when it comes to QNT and just how many people believe in QNT. A lot of other cryptos went down, but not many people scooped up on the dip. But when it comes to QNT, a lot of people took advantage of the price drop. And I would like to mention how around a 4x just to go to the price of $500, I think that's really good. I think that's not bad whatsoever. And the next milestone I want to talk about is the price of QNT at $1,000, which by the way, as of right now, is around an 8x from here. QNT would have a $14.5 billion market cap. And in order to become a millionaire at that point, you would need to own 1,000 QNT, which as of right now is worth around $128,000. And $128,000, yeah, that's a lot, but around an 8x to go to a market cap of $14.5 billion, I think that's insane in my opinion. I think that's really good. And keep in mind, QNT has never reached that high of a market cap before, but I do think that a lot of other cryptos with far less fundamentals have reached way higher than that in the past. You know, a lot of other cryptos with fundamentals that are way worse than QNT have reached that and beyond. So I don't think QNT going to a $14.5 billion market cap is really something that's too outlandish. In fact, I think that's actually a very realistic goal, and I think QNT will easily reach that in the future. And at a $43.6 billion market cap, one QNT would be worth $3,000. And at that point, in order to become a millionaire, you would need to have owned around 333 QNT, which as of right now is worth around $42,000. And now some people might think, oh, a $43.6 billion market cap, oh, that's a lot. A lot of people think, oh, that's crazy, that's too high of a goal. But I will say this, right? In the past, we've seen meme coins. For example, we take a look at Shiba Inu go to a $40+ billion market cap and beyond. And again, right, Shiba Inu, it's a meme coin. It's not some sort of revolutionary crypto with amazing and spectacular fundamentals. You know, it's not like that whatsoever. We're just talking about Shiba Inu here. So if Shiba Inu can go to a $40+ billion market cap, I don't see why QNT doing the same in the future is really out of the realm of possibility. In fact, if anything, I think that's actually a very realistic goal for QNT, especially when I consider just how amazing the fundamentals are when it comes to QNT. And the next milestone I want to talk about is QNT reaching the price of $5,000. QNT would have a market cap of $72.7 billion, and that would approximately be a 38x from here. And at that point, you would need to have owned 200 QNT in order to become a millionaire, and 200 QNT at the time of this recording is worth around $26,000. So for anyone out there who owns 200 QNT, there you go. You know, if one QNT were to reach the price of $5,000, you all would potentially become millionaires. And now I want to talk about an even bigger milestone when it comes to QNT, and that is QNT at the price of $8,000, which by the way is a staggering 61x from here. And at that point, QNT would have a market cap of over $116 billion. To become a millionaire at that point, you would need to have owned 125 QNT, which by the way, as of right now, is worth around $16,000. And now again, right, I'm going to use another meme coin example here, and I'm going to talk about Dogecoin. Dogecoin at its peak had a market cap of over $88 billion, something with basically no utility reaching that high of a market cap. I think that's so mind-blowing, and I think if anything, that truly showcases the power of cryptos and the potential gains they can create. And with that being said, if Dogecoin can reach that high of a market cap, why can't QNT, with its amazing use case, at least go to a $116 billion market cap? And now I want to talk about an even bigger milestone for QNT, and that is QNT at a staggering and mind-blowing price of $35,000. If QNT were to reach a $509 billion market cap, one QNT would be worth $35,000, and it would approximately be a 272x from here. In order to potentially become a millionaire at that point, you would need to own around 28 QNT, which as of right now is worth around $3,600. And keep in mind, right, a $509 billion market cap, it may sound very unrealistic, but actually it's not even as high as Ethereum's all-time high market cap. And I would not be surprised whatsoever if QNT were to reach a $509 billion market cap in the future. I wouldn't be surprised whatsoever, especially when I consider just how special the Quant network is. And now, do I see this happening in the short or even medium term? No, I don't. This right here is more of a long-term goal for me when it comes to QNT. I really do believe that the sky is the limit when it comes to QNT. And now, with all that being said, I now want to talk about the reasons why I am bullish on QNT and why I think the Quant network is so special. Reason number one, it is because I believe that the Quant network is extremely revolutionary. However, before I continue on any further, I want to tell everyone what the Quant network is actually all about. And when it comes to the Quant network, it's made up of two things: the Overledger OS and the Overledger network. And I first want to explain what the Overledger OS is. The Overledger OS is not a blockchain. It instead sits on top of multiple blockchains and allows for individuals and institutions to build multi-chain applications. And some of you may be wondering, what is a multi-chain application? A multi-chain application is an application that is built on top of multiple blockchains instead of just one. And an example of a multi-chain application is this. So let's say an individual or institution wants to build an application using the Overledger OS. They can, for example, build an application that takes advantage of the speed of the Stellar blockchain while at the same time taking advantage of the security of the Bitcoin blockchain. Hence the name multi-chain applications. There are multiple blockchains. With the Overledger OS, people don't have to be stuck building an application on just a singular blockchain. That is just how special the Overledger OS is. And the Overledger OS has amazing and beneficial qualities. For example, individuals and institutions can start using blockchain with just 3 lines of code. It's so simple. It's essentially a plug and play deal. And on top of that, they have choice, interoperability, flexibility, and not being locked in. They also avoid buying additional infrastructure. And also on top of that, the benefits include being able to comply to security and regulation, and being able to use existing technical skills and resources. And this all can be started in less than 8 minutes. I mean, this is absolutely mind-blowing in my opinion. This is crazy. The Overledger OS is not only revolutionary, but it's also very simple to use. And keep in mind, when institutions want to adopt new technology, they don't want to adopt something that's very difficult to use, overly complicated. They don't want any of that whatsoever. When institutions want to adopt new technology, they want something that's easy, simple to use, and very practical. And the Overledger OS allows for that to happen. It's very easy to use, and it's also very amazing. And I believe that the future of cryptos will be institutional adoption. Institutions, they have the most capital, they have the most resources, and they have the volume to accommodate growth at a much larger scale. And the fact that the Overledger OS is facilitating institutional adoption, I think is just so wonderful. And that right there is what the Overledger OS is all about. And now that you've all heard about the Overledger OS, I now want to talk about the Overledger network. And the Overledger network is made up of the Overledger OS users. And users of the Overledger OS on the Overledger network can share their data, their apps, and resources and monetize them. That is what the Quant network is all about. It's made up of the Overledger OS and the Overledger network. And I think with all of that being said, I think it's fair to assume that the Quant network is just absolutely extraordinary. I mean, it's out of this world. It's fantastic. Reason number 2, it is because of QRC-721, which by the way is Quant's very own NFT standard. And the reason why I believe that QRC-721 is so special is because most NFTs nowadays are minted using Ethereum's ERC-721 token standard. And by the way, when it comes to ERC-721, it has a lot of issues. It has very big security problems. If we take a look at this, unless adequately designed, ERC-721 smart contracts have been subject to hacks. Fraudsters as well have found a myriad of ways to steal digital wallet credentials and gain access to administrative controls, costing the industry nearly $87 million in 2022. I mean, that is absolutely insane. Ethereum's ERC-721, it's just not that secure. And also on top of that, developers must know Solidity, a programming language for Ethereum to execute robust, well-designed ERC-721 tokens and ensure that the code is validated and credentialed. And this right here, it's just too complicated in my opinion. It doesn't have to be that hard. And last but not least, I want to talk about what I believe is the greatest weakness when it comes to ERC-721. And it is how ERC-721 tokens lack interoperability and are unable to interact seamlessly with blockchains other than Ethereum. This restriction can potentially limit the transactions of digital assets on the metaverse. And all of this is very alarming, especially when you consider how McKinsey predicts that the metaverse industry can be worth up to $5 trillion by 2030. And with ERC-721, it can potentially limit transactions on an industry that can potentially be worth $5 trillion in the future. And that is totally not acceptable in my opinion. With QRC-721, Quant has essentially found a solution for NFTs on the metaverse, something that, by the way, again, right, can be worth up to $5 trillion in the future. And that is absolutely mind-blowing. And if we are just solely talking about NFTs and the future potential growth of NFTs, not including the metaverse, the NFT market is projected to be worth over $211 billion by 2030. The NFT market has insane potential. You know, a lot of people out there, they like to think that Bored Apes are the peak of NFTs. And also, a lot of people out there, they like to think that Mutant Apes are the peak of NFTs. But I think that is completely not the case whatsoever. Yes, NFTs are down right now, but I believe they are just getting started. What we saw of NFTs back in 2021, I think is nowhere near what it can truly reach in the future. The potential of NFTs is insane. And the fact that Quant has their very own NFT standard, I think is just absolutely amazing because let's face it, right? It's a lot better than Ethereum's ERC-721. Yes, a lot of people use Ethereum's NFT token standard, but it's just not as good as Quant's. Reason number 3 is because of its use case. I mean, if we take a look at this, the QNT token can be used in a myriad of ways. First of all, the QNT token can be used for enterprise licenses. QNT tokens must be provided to Quant Network in exchange for an annual income. Price of the access will be fixed in fiat, and the number of tokens needed will vary depending on the price of QNT. Enterprise license fees will be determined on the basis of number of users, number of employees, application type, and volume of transactions. Number 2, the QNT token can be used for developer licenses. Developers will be able to obtain an annual license to develop applications on Overledger through the purchase of QNT tokens equivalent to a fixed fiat amount. The developer wallet will be used to access the platform for the license period, and as well as develop, sign, and publish applications. Number 3, the QNT token can be used for platform fees. In addition to license fees, a platform fee calculated as a percentage of the license fee in QNT will be payable by all users and developers. Number 4, the QNT token can be used for identity and account. A minimum QNT holding is put in place for every participant of the Overledger ecosystem. The wallet storing QNT is your identity, the private key is your password, and with the license fee, you are assigned a BPI key. Number 5, the QNT token can be used for transaction processing. QNT tokens are used to validate, sign, and encrypt every transaction that flows through Overledger. Every enterprise client, developer, user, and application validates each transaction using their QNT linked to their ID and account. No transaction can flow through Overledger without being securely validated by QNT tokens. Number 6, the QNT token can be used for application users. Users will need to hold QNT tokens to be able to run multi-chain applications. The license key will expire annually and must be renewed with more QNT tokens. Users will need to deposit an amount of QNT that will be used to pay to gateways for processing. Users also deposit QNT tokens to cover the cost of any penalties for raising any incorrect disputes. And last but not least, number 7, the QNT token can be used for gateways and staking. To run a gateway, there is an annual fee fixed in fiat to be paid in QNT tokens. Gateways earn QNT for transaction processing. Additionally, QNT tokens can be staked to increase the capacity of the gateway. The more the gateway operator stakes in the variable deposit, the more requests they can accept, resulting in more QNT earned. And wow, right? Just imagine how much use cases the QNT token has. There are many tokens out there that don't really have a good use case, but when it comes to QNT, the use case is just on top of it. It's on a whole nother level. And also, when it comes to the supply of QNT, it actually has less of a supply than Bitcoin. Just imagine that. There's less QNT out there in the world than Bitcoin. QNT is more rare than Bitcoin. If you think about Bitcoin, what is the use case really? It's just a store of value for the most part. There's not much use case other than that. But when it comes to QNT, it actually has a very diversified and good use case. And if I had a choice between buying Bitcoin or QNT, I am hands down choosing QNT. There's no way I would ever buy Bitcoin over QNT. I am always going to choose QNT over Bitcoin. I think QNT is just a much better pick for me. And that right there are the reasons why I am bullish on QNT. And now I want to shift gears real quick and talk about my buying strategy when it comes to QNT. And when it comes to my buying strategy, I am dollar cost averaging. And what does that mean? I am buying a set amount on a set schedule. I am buying on a consistent basis. Anytime I earn income, I straight away buy QNT. It doesn't matter what happens to the price of QNT that day. It can be pumping, it can be dumping. Doesn't matter, I keep buying anyways because I am taking a long-term approach when it comes to QNT. And by dollar cost averaging, I am slowly but surely accumulating more and more QNT and just preparing myself for the next bull run and beyond. And the reason why I say even beyond the next bull run is because I believe that QNT will be around for many, many years to come. Other cryptos out there, for the most part, you don't really know how long they're going to be around for. A lot of cryptos out there, they're based off of hype, based off of fans. But once the hype leaves, once the fans leave, that crypto is just going to disappear off into the abyss. But when it comes to QNT, the value of QNT, it's not tied to fans, it's not tied to hype, it's actually tied to fundamentals. QNT actually has an amazing use case, and that is why I believe that QNT will be around for the long haul, and that is why I am extremely bullish on QNT. I feel like I can never go wrong with QNT. I think it's the real deal. And if you want to check out a very interesting quant video, make sure to go ahead and click on this video right here. It's amazing, it's wonderful, and I think you all would enjoy it. It's an amazing video.